Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, I'm your man, Steve Harvey, and this is Randall Begins. And what are we talking about, Randall?
We are talking about Logan's Run.
The best movie ever made. Definitely better than Citizen Kane. Let's put it that way.
I can't say that because I haven't seen Citizen Kane.
That's all right. Citizen Kane is the movie everybody says is the best movie ever made.
Is
And
that the Rosebud?
Yeah, Rosebud's the sled, man.
Yeah.
It's good, but my Batman Elseworlds pitch of Citizen Wayne is much better.
Nice. Citizen Wayne.
You've read my book, Loose Cannon, right? You've probably got it memorized. It has
no, that's cool.
It has an intro by not one, not two, but three lawyers.
That's awesome.
My friend Brad Moss is the lawyer that's on MSNBC and puts my Shield book all the time.
Oh yeah, I remember you posting that. That's awesome.
Brian Shaneman is he's a maritime lobbyist in Washington D.C., another big shot. And professional comedian Nancy Sen is also a lawyer. So,
is that the one that opened up for recently? Who was it that she opened?
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser, yes.
Yeah, that's Nancy. Yeah, she's a powerhouse. She's a girl boss. That's what the kids say. So the reason I bring that up is because my Citizen Wayne pitch is in that book. So I'll just mail you one. Don't worry about it.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Walker's got one that actually has Post-it notes all over it. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, because there's that book is kind of badass. It's just collections I did for my CBR columns from 2003 to 2005. So it's in the middle of when I was, all that in comics. Yeah. And so there's my Commandy pitch, my series Bible for Image Motown's Casual Heroes, and my Citizen Wayne pitch. I think there's one more weirdo one. Oh, did I say Commandy? I did a Commandy pitch too for DC.
Yeah.
And so Walker loves all that because it shows you how to break it down, like the marketing taglines and plot summaries and character stuff, talking about themes and shit. And the only reason I did that is because I did all this work that nobody's ever going to see. And everybody loved the Making of Astronauts in Trouble script collection.
Yeah.
Because it's just this is going to just sit in my drawer. So in that early 2000s, there was kind of an opportunity to demystify the whole comic, because you can just get online now and see any script you want, fucking all the behind the scenes crap you want.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to pay Kickstarter for it, except those guys probably have documentaries about the shit they took that gave them the idea for a zombie witch fight or whatever, And so I don't know. That all started because of Citizen Wayne, and it's just how much I love Logan's Run is responsible for all of this to bring it back around. So anyway, be kind to me, man. What did you think of the best movie ever made?
I liked it. The first half of the movie was my favorite part.
All the sci-fi, short skirts and stuff like that. Sex and drugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, how everything kind of starts to unravel. Everything is taking place, and where it leads to when they get out, basically.
I gotcha. Yeah, Outside's kind of a different movie, right? But I think that's a little part of the charm. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm dying to know what you think of. Sometimes in early science fiction movies, not stuff from the 50s. But in the late 60s and early 70s, there was a big thing for putting a title card up with a couple of paragraphs of Blade Runner, although that's early 80s. Or it's it's the Nexus 6 guys, and there's all that, you know what I mean? There's always a thing that you have to do to contextualize the world. And I think Logan's Run is really good because if you miss those 3 or 4 sentences in the beginning, it doesn't really add anything except to kind of ease old people in the audience into it. Yeah. It's the 23rd century. Does that really give you any information at all, right? Especially when, the first time you see Carousel, it's Carousel, Capricorn 15, year of the city 2274. Carousel begins. See, I have that fucking movie memorized, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I should tell you why, because I was 13, right? So fucking ray guns that really shoot flames and look like they're blowing up somebody over there.
Yeah.
And girls taking drugs and their shirts off and running around and people being frozen naked. Come on, man. Like literally everything in that movie was just awesome to a 13-year-old boy.
Oh yeah.
And everybody, runs around in cool suits. They have, the aforementioned cool guns, the follower stuff. New U-483. I better go see him. Come on, that movie's great. So the design, I just love. It's like the whole city of domes is kind of like, man, I gotta shut up. Everybody knows I love this movie.
Well, I mean, didn't I think I remember in the credits, was it Jerry Goldsmith did the music?
Yeah, how'd you think about his music, that soundtrack?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, because I think I can't remember if it's some of his like early work or like he's like middle work, because I forget like
It's
when
middle.
he first started, but
he's already got an Oscar for Planet of the Apes at this point.
Okay.
It's 1976, so it's kind of middle for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I think some of the music that maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why I was digging it, was because maybe subconsciously it was like, yeah, it's a little like, the music is reminding me of like Planet of the Apes, and
it does,
and I love his music, man.
It does a lot of that weird atonal stuff, especially when that scene where Heston gets pulled up and he speaks for the first time is "Get your hands on me." But there's all that like as he runs through, that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you're right, the beginning, especially in that opening tracking shot and the cool model of the little like those, I forget what they're called, the little cars that go through the tubes. You know what I'm talking about, right? And there's this one little building that's just covered in holographic tape. I love that. It's like, it's like they did a great job, but it really looks like somebody's very elaborate railroad thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they used all the same like trees and stuff to like that architectural stuff you can get in hobby stores. And it's great. I've seen behind the scenes pictures. This thing is like 40 feet square. It's huge to get a camera over it, but I mean, fact remains, when you get to it, it just looks like, looks like somebody's really elaborate railroad set, like I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, when they do that panning shot, that Jerry Goldsmith music is great. Like electronic, like water bubbles thing. I was really psyched about how much water played a part in this. I never really noticed that before, despite when I was 13 bringing my Bell and Howell tape recorder into the movies. So that's how I had it memorized, because I would just listen to that while I puttered around in my room, like making models and shit. I would just listen to my tape of Logan's Run. Anyway. Hey, look at this. We got Timmy saying hey.
Hey.
I love Logan's Run. The older I get, the more I enjoy seeing my friend Farrah. I have no doubt that he actually has met Farrah Fawcett.
Oh yeah. She's awesome. She's great. I was actually, I don't know why, but like I remember like looking at like images of, and this could be like the Mandela effect for me, but I thought that the main girl of the movie running with Logan is I thought it was Farrah Fawcett.
Oh yeah, they certainly marketed it that way back in the day.
Yeah.
And that was part of why I wanted to see it. I mean, I loved science fiction. I was like down. Don't get me wrong. And especially I'd been reading Starlog for a while, and I like soaked up all their articles about it, that it was. And then I lived in rural Vermont, so like they never got, if there was a film that either did really well and didn't have prints to send to the middle of nowhere Vermont, or nobody seemed to care and they would just send it over whenever they felt like it. So the first time I'm sitting there in the whole summer reading Starlog going, can't find this movie. When is it coming out? And I'd look at the paper and it finally showed up as part of a double bill with Burnt Offerings. I don't know if you know that movie.
No.
It's kind of like a Damien Omen kind of light from Tamu kind of movie. But it was also written by William F. Nolan, who was the guy who wrote Logan's Run with George Clayton Johnson, who's another really good Twilight Zone writer. Nice. But yeah. So I saw it in November, right? and I had to watch fucking Burnt Offerings first. This was part of a double feature, and my mom had to take me because both of them were rated R, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm sitting here with my mom. They're like, look at all the drugs and boobies, but whatever. Every 13-year-old has to deal with that. Anyway,
yeah, it's almost like a rite of passage, right?
So do you? I cut you off, of course, like a crazy man, because I'm so enthusiastic that I get to talk about this movie with another live human being, as opposed to my wife going, "Didn't I watch that the day you turned 30? I did my time
Again."
Right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's a creepy hearse in Burnt Offerings. That might be the movie where I went, "Hey, fuck horror movies. I'm not down." Although, let's see, what was Logan's around 76? Yeah, so it's a year after Jaws. Maybe
Was
it
it
was,
76?
yeah, maybe it was yeah, because I was 13. Randall, pay attention. But I interrupted you when we were getting into a really cool thing. I've seen this movie a million times, and I never realized this time watching it. I was like, okay, I'm going to spot something so I get to tell Randall. And like water has a big deal to do with it, which I find really interesting. Do you get what I'm saying? Like in the beginning, they have that model where what throws off the scale is the little lake that's supposed to be there, like a great big reflecting pool, like in Washington D.C. or something.
Yeah.
But it's just it's only 2 feet long, so it looks like a 2-foot puddle, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
There's some chemicals you can put in that tightens the surface tension a little, but you have to have a giant model to like make that work.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then there's the ice with box, and there's the big water thing and the flood and the reveal at the end. I don't know. I think that's kind of cool.
Well, there was when they were running and trying to get out.
Yeah.
And then they they had to like lock the door in to keep the water out because they were like, I forgot what had happened. Like I guess the guy chasing him,
yeah,
shot off the water or something.
Box was trying to kill him, and he hit something that caused the flood.
Yeah.
After they showed all the frozen runners.
And then of course, them enjoying the outdoors and they're swimming in the lake.
Oh yeah, of course. That's a great one. Yeah, when the first time they get some relief from the weather. Like they haven't really ever, they don't know what outside is, right?
Actually, now that I think about it, because your observation, it's got me thinking the closer that they're getting to getting out is when we start seeing more and more water.
Yeah, man, that's a really good one. Look at you taking it and running with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wonder what that means. Like I mean, we're probably just being English majors at it, right? But
water is life.
Water's life, yeah. Like you can't, be water. That whole Bruce Lee thing. That even if you are trapped in a hermetically sealed dome, you can still like get in and out using water. I don't know.
They're saying at the end how we have to get back inside and we have to save them, and so in order for them to get back inside, they are in the water swimming to get back inside.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like, what do you think of Logan's like turn? Like, that's some of the things that people had problems with at the time. That he set up as like this badass anti-runner collector,
Yeah, I'm trying to think like where he kind of just turned, because like he was so convincing throughout half of it to where he's just like, no, I've got a mission, I'm going to follow through with it. I think maybe the minute he got outside, he's like, okay, I'm turned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a point where you can look at it except when the computer takes his 4 years and starts blinking his life clock. Because he's like, well, hey, do I get my 4 years back? The question has been answered, Logan 5. What do you mean? And so I think that planted the seed of whatever. But his training does take him another 20 minutes through that movie, right? Like when he goes to Cathedral Station and the Cubs start messing with him, he's totally doing that to gain Jessica's trust.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think by the time they're outside, like by the time they see the sun, I guess if you have to point it, point a
Yeah.
finger at it. He's like, all right, all bets are off. This is a little different. But in a 2-hour movie, they did what they could to set it up, right? He has like some, he's a guy of the system. He's the man, right? Which is how
Yeah.
they would talk about it in 75 or 76 when they're shooting it. He gets a little Watergate level of distrust of the guys at the top, right?
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. I like that. So I think that they did what they could, but still in 2 hours, it seems really short to like, my job is a mess. This girl's hot. And, because a lot of it is like, oh, well, beloved husband, beloved wife, right? They
Right.
don't, that they're keying up for that just because life is so weird and out of their, it's not even out of their experience. It's like out of their imagination, right? Like
Yeah.
their idea of outside is like, oh, these shoes are over here and they're supposed to be in the shoe drawer.
Yeah.
That's what outside is. They don't think of there's anything outside the dome. Like, why would they care?
Right.
I don't know. Like the way it's set up, like first of all, everybody lives to 30, and then they get like, killed because there's only so much room in the domes, right?
Right.
Which I think that's pretty cool that they have this whole religion about. Well, have you ever seen anyone renewed? I'm like, yeah, a million times. Well, anybody we know?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really work that way, right? Because by the time they start talking, you're like going to carousel yourself, right? So I don't know. That was pretty cool. I can't tell you how many times I've taken this thing. You know that shot when they're in the nursery? I've taken this thing and turned it around. You're supposed to hold it like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where always shoots this way. Kind of can't see because it's black, right? Anyway, shoots like that, but Francis has it backwards and he takes the butt of it and he goes, don't, don't, don't. And I just love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. These guns are cool. I think this is the coolest design gun in sci-fi history. I think it beats the Blade Runner gun.
Okay.
I think it beats phasers.
It
It's
beats
just
Han Solo's gun.
yes, I think it beats Han Solo's gun. The
Right.
DL-44 Greedo killer, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing shoots fucking flames, man. Those
Yeah.
other things, Han Solo's gun is a fucking whatever it is. One of those broom handle things and with a tank scope on the side. Ooh, nice job. A little fire nozzle thing on the end. This thing shot flames.
Oh wait, how about the RoboCop gun?
100%. This is so much. This is design. The RoboCop gun is just a thing with a long barrel. Who gives a shit? I'm trying to think of something that is even close to this. Like the old school phaser is, but that's like going, my grandmother was very pretty when she was 25. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
This looks like something from the future. I don't know. I'm not a big gun guy. You know, all the props I collect. I don't really get guns unless it's part of a costume.
Yeah.
Or it's awesome. And I do have the Blade Runner Japanese squirt gun.
Nice.
And I have that. And I have, I got some phasers. I got the stun pistol from Space 1999, but it's because they look like something other than a gun,
Yeah.
or does something really cool like this.
Yeah,
I have to figure out.
I really wanted to get a prop replica of the rifle from Aliens, the pulse rifle.
Oh yeah, those you can get those. Those are good.
Yeah.
Airsoft shoots airsoft ones. I have one.
Nerf actually made.
Yes, the Nerf ones.
I almost bought one.
Why didn't you?
As per usual, tight with money.
Yeah, I know. I mean, money is the issue, but like, I don't know. I'd stop eating to get one of those.
Yeah.
Sagasag has a good one. The Colonial Pistol from BSG. Yes, kinda. Like, it's only iconic to guys like us, though, right? Like, you can't look at something and go, oh yeah, that's definitely the gun from Battlestar Galactica. Really? I don't know. I think Jason of Star Command had a cool gun. You get points, Tim, for just saying Jason of Star Command. Have you ever seen that show, Randall?
No. Which one?
It's called Jason of Star Command, and it's like after, in the late 70s, early 80s. I don't know exactly when, but I'm going to go with 1979. It's just a Saturday morning TV show trying to do, it's like if Filmation, the cartoon thing, actually did live action.
Okay.
And so there's this cool Han Solo guy, Jason of Star Command, but the guy who runs it is Scotty from Star Trek with his giant mustache. Oh man, it's great.
That almost kind of reminds me of Captain Power.
Yes, it's the same vibe. Captain Power, if you can believe it, had better production quality than Jason of Star Command. I kind of, you know what? I kind of want to tell me something cool about Logan's Run, and I'll get the spaceships from Jason of Star Command up.
Something cool about Jason or Logan's Run.
No,
I was going to say Jason's Run.
Jason's Run.
I mean, man, like, you know, as soon as I started watching it, just the tone, the pacing, the writing, like I was really digging it. But more importantly, just like the look, right? And I just started thinking, like, man, it would be so cool to see, like, I know for diehard fans, you know, old school fans are just like, no, don't remake it. It's a masterpiece. But I'm the type of person, like, with today's technology, you know, the equipment, some of the actors, I immediately started thinking, just because I saw a trailer recently with, I remember the actor's name now, forgetting his name. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He played Tex.
Oh, I can't picture it. Who played Tex?
Gosh, he was in Dune 2, and then he was also in. He played Elvis.
Oh. Austin
Butler. There you go.
Butler. Yeah. Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. Yeah.
So I see him as Logan in Logan's Run. I could see that.
And I was picturing Jacob Elordi as his friend.
Okay, as Francis. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Those two guys their careers are really blowing up. They're putting out some solid work.
That Austin Butler guy is great. I love that guy.
Yeah, that new Darren Aronofsky movie that he's in, I think that's going to be a really big hit for him. That just looks really, really well directed. And apparently it's gosh, there was a comic book writer that I think he wrote a book. I think it's based off of his book, book series that he wrote that Darren Aronofsky is adapting.
All right, here I got the Jason of Star Command for you. There's the cast.
Nice.
So there's Scotty, of course. There's Jason, his little, Han Solo from Wish, and a girl and an alien. It's a girl and an alien. That's gonna happen. And then this one's the level of the ships, the model work, which I would have done better in my own home. So that little thing in the bottom is Star Command.
Yeah.
It's just buildings on an asteroid, and that's one of their ships coming in. So
it's almost Thunderbirds quality.
Yeah, that's kind of shitting on Thunderbirds. I won't stand for that. Anyway, there we go. Oh, hey, Seg says there's a Jason of Star Command playlist on YouTube. I might go watch the credits in the beginning just to go, hey, if I was eating Fruit Loops with strawberries right now, this would be perfect. And I had hair and no beard.
I'm kind of doing that right now. I'm doing a rewatch of the Batman the Animated Series, and just thinking back to, like, I remember I think I was in 3rd grade, and we had just moved back to Tampa, so we had like no furniture. I had a small little screen TV, portable TV, and I would have it sitting on the floor, and I would turn it on Fox Kids, weekday right after school, watching cartoons. And I just remember, the Batman animated series intro playing, and I just remember specific episodes, whether it was like a Poison Ivy episode or, and I just, as a little kid, just laying on the floor with my head, just looking right at the TV screen on the floor.
Fox Kids, that had the Animaniacs and stuff, right? Or was that? Yeah. All right.
Tiny Toons Adventures, Animaniacs. Yes. Actually, there was an episode of Batman animated series where one of the goons for the Joker is holding up a magazine, I guess a comic book, and it said Tiny Toons on it. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. Warner Brothers. Go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Logan's Run. You just did you just go, oh, this is a movie Larry likes, so it's cool, or did you?
No. I'm
just watch it all at once?
I'm just practicing what you told me.
Try to find something good.
I'm actually practicing two things that you told me.
Uh-huh.
Because I remember our last conversation. I was actually going to go like this when you were talking. I'm like, oh, Larry's on the canoe. I don't want to interrupt Larry here.
Yeah, sorry, man. I get
No, it's good.
excited.
It's good. You know, and then with the movie, like, there's a couple things where I was going to point out, like, well, you know, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, but like, I'm just trying to practice what, you know, you're teaching me, you know,
No,
like,
go ahead.
focus on the good.
That movie's got some flaws. I'd be interested in what didn't work for you. I just don't.
I felt like, no, I was going to say, I felt like the first half I really, really liked. And like I said, I felt like it really slowed down at the end. And I found myself kind of struggling to finish it. Like I was kind of like drifting off a little bit, like falling asleep a little bit. That was it though. Like, I mean, overall, like I think it just, that first half was really cool. Just seeing him get chased and like, you know, well, that and the fact that he's a cop, right? He's a cop. He's going undercover, right? He's on a secret mission and he's trying to infiltrate like the people who are outside of the system and to kind of just, you know, and I that part I really, really digged. And then, yeah, you know, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, we're wrapping up now, you know, and like, there is like the people outside, but like, they're not outside of the dome, you know?
Yeah, they get there at the end though, right? When the end cracks open and everybody goes out to check out what's happening, and then they're all in the Fort Worth Water Gardens with Peter Ustinov.
The one old man where everyone's looking at him and they're just like smiling, like, this is what old looks like.
Yeah, it's a very 1970s movie. That's why I think that if Austin Butler does it, they have to be a little closer to the book.
Yeah.
Because although that thing with Francis being the old man, I think it kind of, you can get away with that in print. I think that would be really rough to do live action, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's from the book, which you haven't read, I'm sure, right? But
No.
yeah, his buddy Francis is the old man. Like, so he's been this secret. It's how the old man has been kind of living a better life than the one in the movie, and
Yeah.
but so he will sneak back and forth into the city. Well, it's not really a domed city in the book; it's the whole planet, right? So,
Yeah.
but the thing that you kind of don't think about as you're reading it is like how hard that would be to pull off a youthful face with like people in your face, right? Because you're a Sandman, and not see even a really good silicone, like Mission Impossible quality mask.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be uncomfortable after a while, right? You have to
Yeah.
live your whole life like that because you're a Sandman. Like, it works in the book, but it would be hard to do that live action and have that make sense in a 2-hour movie.
Well,
But,
you know, for a second there, I thought you were going to say maybe because you know, like when people leave and then like there's newborns, like it could be clones. So like
yeah,
maybe old Francis is actually just the older version of the current Francis.
well, if you want to see a movie that does that, it's Logan's Run with clones. It's Michael Bay did a movie called The Island.
I love that movie.
That's Logan's Run, right?
Yeah.
Just Logan's
Now
Run
that
with
I think
clones.
about it, yeah.
So that's cool.
I'll never forget when they advertised that movie. The advertising was so bad. The movie's called The Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the trailer, you just see Ewan McGregor yelling, "There is no island." Boom, the island. You know, and it's like, what are you guys doing here?
Yes,
you know?
there is. I tell Walker that all the time. I'm like, do not title your project something that critics can use against you.
Yeah.
And that's, I must have been Entertainment Weekly back in the day when that movie with J-Lo came out called Enough. And their headline was "Enough with a J-Lo." And I thought that was great. And I was like, man, if you do that, it makes it easy for critics to shit on you. So yeah, like you said, exactly. There is no island coming soon. The Island.
The Island.
I just heard there wasn't an island. I don't know. Whatever.
The music was great. Directing, I love Michael Bay's action style directing. Ewan McGregor. This was like probably the first movie I really liked him in outside of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's cool. You never
Yeah.
saw Train Spotting? How can you not like him in that?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't
Yeah.
watched the whole movie through.
That was his first movie I saw him, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this guy. He's fucking great.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. She is Farrah Fawcett Majors. That's
Farrah Fawcett
right.
Majors. That's I remember the name of
Exactly.
that.
The reason I know that is because I had the Logan's Run movie poster on the back of my door for like 5 years. So I know the cast even pretty well because I read it every day when I went, oh, I gotta open my door. Man, I love this art.
She dated Ryan O'Neal, right?
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
She actually, good old Lee Majors stole her away from Ryan O'Neal. That was a who was that? Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe level
Yeah.
marriage wrecking on
With the
those
Quaid.
Yeah, and that's why it was a big deal that Leah was like, "You have to say Fawcett Majors because you're mine, lady." Tell Ryan O'Neal. Anyway,
I remember a sitcom where I guess they were sportscasters, Ryan O'Neal and Farrah Fawcett.
oh yeah,
And yeah, it's a funny show, man. Like I can't find it anywhere, but Brian Doyle Murray, Brian Doyle Murray was in it, and so was I'm trying to blank on the actor's name. He played Perry White in the Lois and Clark TV series.
oh yeah, Lane Smith.
Yeah, Lane Smith.
Dude, look at me go.
And I've always liked Lane Smith. There's just something funny about him.
Yeah, he's great. I love his voice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I always every now and then I'll be like, "Great shades of Elvis," like when he would say that on Lois and Clark. Like, "Come on, Clark, great shades of Elvis."
This right here is why I have never heard of this show. It's called Good Sports.
Yeah.
It was on for 4 months. It was Farrah's only scripted TV series after Charlie's Angels, but the year 1991.
Yeah.
I just was not watching TV.
Oh, and the one of the love interests was played by the guy who was in was it the Great American Hero, or no, the what's that Greatest American Hero, the
Yeah, no, I know the show. The William Pat, the guy with blonde hair?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's him. He
Cool.
was in it too.
Dude, I am Mr. Internet Movie Database. Just give me a hint and I can figure out who you're talking about.
Nice.
So that's it for Logan's Run, huh? Nothing about the Cubs and Cathedral Station. Like, isn't that cool that there's an abandoned monorail station inside the city of Domes, and they just kind of don't care because that's where all the shitheads go.
Right? Yeah, no. I mean,
it's got like a bad part of town. I think that's awesome.
It's funny. Like, well, if Logan's Run was a TV series, I feel like a whole season could be dedicated to the Cubs, right? Like, kind of like or even a spinoff, because it's like you're within the dome, but it's like the ghetto, I guess, right? Like, it's supposed to be the bad part, the bad neighborhood of this paradise. Like, oh, don't go there. You're looking for trouble if you go there. And it's I thought that part was interesting, but I mean, it was just one of those like.
What did you think of Michael York's voice as a leading man? Because that whole scene when he gets to Billy, he's like, "What happens when you turn 15, Billy?" It comes like, it's like, what is going on? Like, Michael York is like, "You're looking pretty good in them jeans, Billy. And all those other kids are gonna stick you, man." It's just crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's a reason he was cast in Austin Powers, and I think
and he's fucking awesome. That's why he was cast in Austin Powers. You had D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers. Come on, man.
Those I haven't seen either. Yeah, I know. And but no, he's got such a distinct voice also, and that's another reason why, like, when I watched Austin Powers, like, he always stood out to me. And so same thing, like, if I ever saw him in another movie, I was like, oh, I know that guy. He's from Austin Powers.
Yeah, there's a very interesting thing. I read all the behind the scenes stuff too, because I'm just so interested in the process. One of the things, do you know, oh man, I forget the guy's name. Rinsler, of course. J.W. Rinsler wrote this great book about the making of Star Wars. And he did Empire and Return too, which I have those. But the Star Wars one's really cool It goes very deep into like casting process and stuff. And when they got Alec Guinness, he kind of was like, really, I don't get it. But then he got it and he annotated his script, all his lines, with these various accent marks of his own devising that meant something to him, right? Like if it say it was like, you know, a squiggly line over a word, it meant to him something like, you know, I'm going to emphasize that, or this is a this needs you know, a de-emphasis, or this needs something, you know. And so he would look at it and there's this crazy thing where he just he, as he's reading it, he goes, I will say it like this. And that then, so 3 months later he looks at it and he goes, you know, there's no escape for the princess this time, you know. And it's like, I feel like him as an English guy, that Michael York might have done something like that, because his delivery gets melodious sometimes, like he's almost singing his phrases, like and he does a weird thing, like whenever he's talking to Jenny Agutter, he'll ask her a question and then throw like at the end of it. It's like, yeah, you know, I can't help but notice that your dress is green. And it's like, it just seems so correct to me, but it's like chicken and the egg. Is it because I listened to this friggin' cassette tape, the bootleg I made myself like 100 times before I turned 15, or is it just like something he was doing? I don't know, but he does it in Three Musketeers. Trying to think of something else I know really well that he was in.
I wonder if it's like something like, because a lot of those actors, you know, obviously they have that like, oh, we're stage actors, you know, we work in theater, you know, so it's like sort of like, you know, a certain style of like theater, like you got to do something like, I remember what's his name, Bill Hader. I think he was talking to an old school actor, and he says that, you know, the difference between theater and movies, when you're in the movies and someone hits, you know, hurts you, you're like, you know, but if you're in the theater and someone hurts you, you're like, ah, you know,
you're playing to the backseat. I think you're onto something there, that the English actors, like, I'm sure Michael York was a stage guy too. So there's probably something to that they have control of their voice box, you know, that's their instrument that they are playing for you, you know.
It's a style that they're developing. It's, you know,
that's a good one.
Salem's Lot.
I didn't even know he was in that. Let's check that out.
Salem's Lot. Which one? The first one or the sequel?
It has to be, because he's like 80 years old. 86 or something. Michael York. Oops.
Because I remember watching.
Usually when Steve does this, he does it a lot cleaner, and then Mark and I will be talking about something. So,
because I recently watched the original Salem's Lot, and I don't recall seeing him in it.
Well, it doesn't. Tim might be heavily drugged. Who knows? Oh no, here's a great picture. Wait, no, that's David Soul, man. I wonder if Tim is confusing the two of them. That's great. I'm going to put this picture up anyway, because it kind of looks like Michael York, an American Michael York. StreamYard, present invite. Where's that picture? Where did it go? Here it is. Oops, image file. Sorry, this is very fun, right? Watching me struggle. There we go. That's David Soul from TV Starsky and Hutch. That's the guy.
That's right, Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, look, here we go. You have reached 3 demerits, Mr. Connolly. 3 demerits. All right, whatever. That's funny though. I see why you. That's just not an accident. Like, he looks like Michael York. Anyway, look at him. Yeah, of course. I meant David Soul, not Michael York. There's a show I loved back in the day, Starsky and Hutch. But I only bring that up because you said if Logan's Run was a TV show, where I feel obligated to tell you, of course it was a TV show based on the Oscar-winning movie.
They did make one. I forgot about that.
Future Trip. Gregory Harrison, TV's Gonzo on Trapper John MD, played young Logan. And did you ever watch that show, Trapper John MD?
No.
It's the character from MASH. It's just he's older. He's played by Pernell Roberts, who's one of the Gunsmoke brothers. The older guy with a beard like mine. So just he kind of looks like me, honestly, a bald guy with a salt and pepper beard, and he's a doctor at a hospital in the present day, and Gregory Harrison, the guy who played Logan, plays like the young cool guy that gets all the chicks, and he sleeps in an RV in the hospital parking lot because he's just there to save people. Anyway, Gregory Harrison, but he has
He's
really
edgy.
curly hair. If you ever saw it, and if you can picture that guy, he has really curly hair. But for Logan,
Yeah,
it wouldn't work. So they that was a big part of it. Instead of putting 4 hours of makeup, to play like a Klingon or something, he had hours of them just ironing his hair straight and makeup. Can you imagine? I'd be like, hey, can my character just have like a buzz cut or something? I'm like, come on.
right.
Anyway, I did have
Good
a
old-
Logan's Run uniform, but it just looks ridiculous on anybody over 30. To me, like, hey, it's an old fat Sandman. Yeah, no.
what if they did a like a reverse Logan's Run, right?
Like
Sort of
kill
like
all the kids. I'm for it. Let's go.
that, or like they're pulling a what do you call it? What was that movie with Brad Pitt? Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button. I got you.
You get younger, and once you reach to a certain age,
Burn
it's like
before reading. I'm just a jackass, man. You say, what's that Brad Pitt movie? And then don't say anything. I'm going to list all the Brad Pitt movies I can think of until you get mad at me. So let's just assume I did that. Go back to the...
Okay.
This is a weird one, man. I'm sorry. It's because I spoke to you in the green room about it. Anyway, can I just tell you this one thing? One of the things I was working on was my kid's Jack Fry trade paperback. Are you familiar with Jack Fry?
No, I'm not.
Walker did 3 stories. Manny Bello from Dugout and Hench drew one. This cool Brazilian guy named Daniel Cavell I found online drew one, and the Philback brothers drew one. And we're collecting them all into a trade for San Diego. And I ran across this Goran Parlov guy.
Yes, I love his art.
And so I saw this today.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
He said if you like Nick Fury, just draw it big. And this thing was giant. Like he did it. It's print quality, the size of a record, an LP cover. And I'm like, man, you're giving that shit away online. And I did this for my kid. I'm like, it looks like John Hamm kinda, but it looks more like Jack Fry to me. So Jack Fry, his Walker's little catchphrase thingy is that when he tells the whole story, like the first one was a guy went missing, his wife hires the private detective. He's like, he has this really cool panel where he does all the cliches like in one thing. He's talking to the girl in the door, and he's like, what do you want? So my husband's missing. He's like, he owes people money. He's got a girlfriend. He did like 4 or 5 things, and then the next panel is the girl's like, no, you don't know what's. I was like, man, this is pretty good for a teenager. Yeah. Anyway, I saw this today. The catchphrase is, he finds out what it is, and the guy's not missing. He was actually eaten by aliens, and the aliens fly away, and he's just standing there, and he's like, watches the spaceship go anyway. He goes, fucking aliens, and that became his catchphrase. So one of his Jack Fry's friends turns out to be a werewolf, and he has to shoot him at the end, but he just injures him because it's his friend. And he's like, I'm sorry I shot you, Jasper, as he turns back into a human. And he just picks him up and is walking him back to the car, and he's like, fucking werewolves. And so the fucking vampires one even starts off with a chunk. He's leaving his house and a chunk of masonry falls down. And he looks up and he goes, fucking gargoyles. So that's the first panel instead of the last. So that explains this. That it's John Hamm. I was like, John Hamm really needs to be playing Jack Fry, not white Nick Fury. But that's why it says, what that wizard say? Throw him in the fire? Fucking witches. Yeah. So I show this to him. I'm like, hey, it's a little Jack Fry fan art. And he drops the story on me. He's like, fucking witches. Oh, here's what happens. And just lays it all out. And I'm like, man, save that for your senior year movie thesis and see if you can get John Hamm to play it. Because that happens. Robert Duvall was in George Lucas's senior thesis at USC.
Yeah, was it the THX?
Yeah, THX 1138, but the student thing, it has a bunch of numbers after it. It's like THX 1138755BQ epsilon 5, whatever,
Yeah.
And then Warner Brothers went, no, like THX 1138. That's good.
Yeah.
Just leave it. We'll leave it there. Anyway, Logan's Run. We cannot allow you to leave, based on the Oscar-winning movie, The Ultimate Future Trip, this fall on CBS. Because I used to record the ads too, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the best things about the 2-hour pilot of that TV show is that they got to like just grab all the crowd scenes to make it look like from the movie to make it look like the production value was through the roof. Look, there's 1,200 extras here. Oh no,
That's
it's
funny.
just a shot from the movie. Never mind. That's cool. I don't know if I'm supposed to have talked about that Jack Fry thing. I don't know. Get it at booth 2001 in July, San Diego.
Oh, sweet.
I got my parking tickets today, so that's good. The passes to go park underneath the convention center.
I really got to go there one of these days.
Dude, you would love it. Just come here.
My goal is, because Marco, that he gets to go to San Diego for free for the rest of his life, right?
Because he's a Eisner winner, right?
Yeah.
Is that one of the perks? They're like, hey, you did a great job, but dude, you get to go there for free for the rest of your life.
Yeah. The only problem is, like, you gotta get your hotel, you gotta fly out here, you gotta do all this other stuff, which he can't do at the moment. My goal is, because he gets one ticket for him and one ticket to bring a person. And so
cool.
my hope is maybe in a year or two, once I get my finances situated, I'm going to pay for the hotel. I'll hook up, I'll just say, listen, you just need to get a plane ticket, fly out here. Here's the hotel. We'll stay here at the hotel. You provide the tickets.
Man.
We go to San Diego. And our other primary goal would be, like, we get to see Larry in person and hang out. Maybe we'll grab some lunch. Or
yeah,
dinner,
man.
or whatever,
oh, man. I'll go to dinner with you guys. Come on. Give me a break. That adds up quick though, man. It's like $300 a night for your hotel.
Yep.
So I try not to think about it because we spent 15 grand before we even like step on the floor.
Yeah.
And there's kind of no way to make that money back anymore. So, especially at the level we're at. I mean, at the level we were at when we were great, we could clear our booth with sales back in the old days, but like that's when we were doing 12 books a year. So I'm just saying, like the best way to go to San Diego is be like Marco, do something awesome and have somebody else pay for it. That's really the only way to enjoy San Diego anymore.
Well, I'm actually working to be, because I have this CGC account. I have a dealer account, and so my goal is to get approved to be a facilitator.
That's cool.
And facilitators, they can witness the signatures and stuff like that. So my goal would be like, hey, to all my customers, hey, I'm going to California. I'm going to be seeing some of these people getting signatures. Do you guys want anything? If so, here are my prices. You pay this, so I can kind of make it like a business trip.
Yeah, that's awesome. Take it off your taxes, right? That's what we do.
Yeah. I still got to learn. I still got to learn to do all that. So,
what do you do ongoing CGC slabbing and stuff, or is it just a thing you do every once in a while?
I've increased doing the amount that I'm doing recently. Like I'm wheeling and dealing with friends who submit a lot of stuff to get graded.
Yeah.
So I was told that originally, I think it's like you had to have an account with CGC, like a dealer account, for a certain amount of years. Then you can apply, and then you might get approved. But now I'm hearing you don't have to wait as long if you submit a certain amount of books.
That's cool.
So I don't know if it's like I have to submit 1,000 books in a year or a little over 1,000.
I like to see this. Hollywood big shot producer, star savior. Everybody thinks it's Tom Cruise that's saving Hollywood. It's not. It's Rick Austin.
Nice.
But I'd love to see this. Maybe we drive down this year.
That would be cool.
It's July 23rd to the 27th. We will be there, Rick. Booth 2001, like usual. Yeah, and you can see Walker's book. I'm actually lettering it. That's why I keep looking this way.
Yeah.
I have it open. I'm like, I can't figure out a way to like bring over some Jack Fry stuff. But it's cool. It's cool stuff, especially like the Philbacks know what they're doing. That's like another level, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Just I've been a huge fan of their stuff before I even like met them. Actually, their Star Wars books, the Tales of Star Wars. I was reading those to Walker when he was a boy. Right, the
Yeah.
Dark Horse did, you know, little digest size.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
Yeah,
those.
so they were super cool the first year I met them, and I showed them pictures of my kid, and I'm like, my kid loves these. So they drew Walker like a small kid, you know, but in the Luke Skywalker stuff, but with the beach hat and the goggles from the deleted scenes, and
Yeah.
standing next to Yoda, and that was in his room for like 15 years.
That's awesome.
So anyway, it's a dream for this kid so 3 years ago he did a thing called Untitled Walker Young Project. Had a Ken Knutson cover with, you know, the guy from he does My Monkey's Name is Jennifer. It was a slave labor book back in the day. Anyway, he's great. He did
Yeah, I remember you mentioned it.
Yeah, so Walker did a World War II story called Going Home, Going Dark. And it's about these two guys that are in the Battle of the Bulge, just going through the woods, and somebody gets shot in the face, and his buddy gets him out. It's pretty simple plot wise, but man, is it heartfelt? And you're like, a fucking 15-year-old wrote this? Like, are you a reincarnated dead guy from World War II? Because this is powerful. And I said to the Philbacks, like, you know, for Christmas, I wouldn't mind, you know, if you have time or even the interest to get like this kid, like, he's fired up, man. He wrote this real script and it's legit. So, like, do you mind even just reading it with an eye towards maybe drawing it? And they read it and they're like, fucking dude, we know exactly how to draw this. Like, sit down. And like a month later, finished things come back. But for Christmas, they delivered it in a big artist portfolio. All the artwork, they're just keep the art. This is his. But they put in all their 8.5 by 11 storytelling layouts with notes to each other, because they're brothers and they work in one room with their tables like this facing each other and a TV 90 degrees to them, so they could talk to each other as they work, but also watch TV at the same time and just talk about what's going on. And so when they do layouts, like one of them will be like, I got this one, I got the idea for this, but they write notes and stuff on the margins in case the other brother's like, you know, doing something else, right? Or like has 3 days later, like finishes what he's doing and then goes to that. So they all know what they're doing. So they gave him all of that too. So it was like, here, have a master class in how to do a comic based on your own script. And they could, like, Walker thinks they like saved his life in the war, right? They're like, whatever you guys need. And they're like, no, you don't get it, man. We're artists and we like to draw. And so we have to have writers because we're not writers. So you're not a joke. Like, write us something else. And so he's like, oh, I don't know, man. It's like, it's really cool to see.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
They did the cover for the trade paperback too, which is fucking great.
I love like how you described it, like how they work, and it just got me thinking, like, man, that just makes me think of the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if you live together and it's your brother, you were raised together and you work creatively, it seems like you would be. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Let's just finish the scene, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I wish somebody would say something about Logan's Run. It's a good movie. Jenny Agutter. I don't know. So, did you recognize that actress, Jenny Agutter? Because she's one of the World Security Council in one of the Avengers movies.
Oh, that's where I recognize her face.
Yeah, she kind of looks a little like Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah.
And as an old lady, and with your face, that's Scarlett
Johansson. I saw her face, and I was just like, for some reason, I was like, oh, she must be like in an '80s movie that I hadn't seen in a while, because I'm like, that face looks so familiar. And yeah, I think it was
Chris,
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Chris can help me out. Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Of course. 70s, right? Of course you get Jenny Agutter. Oh my God. That makes all the sense. Oh, right. She's have you seen American Werewolf in London?
It's my favorite werewolf movie. Yeah.
All right.
I'm a fan of John Landis. I love his. There's something about the cinematography in his films that really stand out. Because what is it? Spies Like Us. Trading Places. The only one that didn't seem like it fits like with the other movies would be Animal House.
Oh yeah, well it fits. The thing I think is funny though is that you think of American Werewolf in London as a Landis movie, and not like, oh, you mean Jenny Aguter's in that? That's the girl in the shower when they're playing Moondance by Van Morrison, and she's in Logan's Run. You like, how do you not remember that?
Oh, that's right. Oh my god, I haven't seen.
Dude,
so
I haven't seen American
movie. I've seen it.
I haven't seen American Werewolf in London since it came out in the theater, and I can picture that scene. Anyway, so that's why Rick is my oldest friend. She's great in that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's where
MI5. She's in MI5. Anyway, look at Chris going.
Yeah.
See, we just need old people to talk about Logan's Run. That's all. I kind of disagree that because you have to look at these movies contextually, right? And so this is 3 years away from Watergate. People are not trusting the man, right? So the last half where you go from the contained environment to the open, freedom environment, right? Which, if you don't get it, they end up in Washington D.C. so you get the actual symbolism of all that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I don't think it's slow, because that's when it turns a little. It just changes from action to philosophy, right? They're like discussing like what it means to be a person, which they never had to think of before, because every need of theirs was met. So
the world's completely changed.
I think so. Yeah. So I get why, like, as a 21st century moviegoer, you're kind of like, oh, well, something happened, please. But like, the whole bit where they're in, I don't know, what is the Senate chambers or whatever, the big government room where Peter Ustinov has all those cats, and he's just kind of babbling along to that T.S. Eliot thing that you can kind of half remember, which is funny because I cannot remember the real poem because of the fucking lines in Logan's Run.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, I think parts of Logan's Run, and I think because I love the movie Minority Report. And so I feel like there's partial inspiration in Minority Report from Logan's Run. Because same thing, right? He's a cop, right? But like, he's on the run. So it's like
I think it's like, just kind of a parallel development thing, because Philip K. Dick and the William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson are all kind of contemporaries. So they're all commenting on the same like distrust of government, 1970s. It's not even that. It's a little before, right? In Planet of the Apes, Charlton Heston says to Lucius, like, when I was back on Earth, only people my age wore beards or whatever. It's some dumb shit. But he tells them, don't trust anybody over 30. Keep them flying. And it's like, so that was a thing back then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And one other observation also, right? The government in Logan's Run essentially is a computer, right?
Clear.
So like, so I feel like people might relate to that today, because like there's this big push for AI, so like, what if that was an artificial intelligence that's basically running that whole society and telling them like, hey, these are the laws, these are the rules, You
sort of wonder like how all that happened though, right? Like, they had all this time to build this giant thing to try to save humanity from whatever Holocaust that happened. And then only a couple hundred years go by, and like, assuming they started building it, in 1980 or whatever, that because you have to see the catastrophe coming. And then a couple hundred years go by, and like nobody remembers what it used to be like outside. Right. It's all kind of interesting. But like, that's the thing. Moviegoers at the time, you buy that ticket and you go, okay, it's the 23rd century and this kind of shit is happening. I buy it. Let's go. Right? Like now, like people would walk out of the movie. What? What is that? Anyway,
do you think that like also maybe it's like a representation of like maybe from their perspective it's like the future advancement of technology, but we lose ourselves, right? And
yeah,
then
maybe.
like them escaping and leaving because when you go outside there is no technology, you know.
Right?
So they're outside and they're discovering like, oh, this is what the world used to be like. And so like I don't know if it's like a representation of like if we continue to go with technology, like this is what's going to happen. We're going to forget the past, and then
I
like
like it. I didn't, but I knew you were going somewhere, and you pulled it out. I like it. No, that's true. The whole technology versus nature thing. That's pretty. It's like it's so overt that you kind of like miss what the point of what they're doing.
yeah.
Which you called. Nice job. Three Amigos. Here's one. Have you seen Three Amigos?
Oh, yeah, of course, of
See,
course. I
I
love
haven't.
Steve Martin. Um,
I love all those guys, and I haven't seen this movie.
you haven't
So
seen this movie?
I have not.
Maybe you need to watch this movie
Should
and
we
we talk
watch?
about
Let's
this.
go next Tuesday. We'll watch this, and you can school me and be all enthusiastic, and I'll go, "Oh man, I missed that." That's fun. I'll do that if you care. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll rewatch Three
Larry
Amigos. I love
finally
that movie.
watched Three Amigos. Steve and Mark will like that one because that's kind of a one that I'm always like, yeah, okay, that's great.
And then
Whatever.
you get to do the catchphrase at the end, like, "What took me so long?"
Blues Brothers. Oh yeah, for John Lennon. That's my favorite John Lennon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
That
think
was
I like that one just a hair more than Animal House, but that's a like 2001 Blade Runner. Sometimes I feel like my science fiction should have spaceships, and sometimes I think it should have flying cars. That's
yeah.
how I feel about Blues Brothers and Animal House. Sometimes, you
I have seen Animal House numerous times. I think Blues Brothers I've only seen once.
really, wow,
Yeah.
man, I hate Illinois Nazis. I just listened to Briefcase Full of Blues, which was mostly the soundtrack of that movie, like yesterday when I was driving around getting ready for Walker's graduation. Which, oh my god, my kids, it's amazing. Did I tell this in the green room or did I say this live? I got to put this live. The friggin' school called us and said our son did not go to class today. Yeah, because he graduated. Dicks. All right, that's an hour, man. Sorry for the late start. Sorry I didn't tell anybody about it, but we got our guys coming in.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sagasag and Chris and Tim. Good talking to you. Three Amigos next week.
Three
What took you so long
Amigos.
for Logan's Run, man? Logan, your life clock is clear. Anyway,
anyways, what took me so long to watch Logan's Run?
I kind of stepped on your catchphrase. I'm getting excited about saying that for Three Amigos next week.
Sweet, sweet.
All right, thanks, Randall. Always a blast.
Yeah, same here, man. Thank you.
All right, see you next week. All right.